Welcome back to a new week at Life Launch University. I know we've just started, but I hope the concepts that we've explored so far have helped you open your mind to what's really possible and the greatness that's found within you. Speaking of what's found within you, this week we're going to explore the fascinating world of your brain. We're going to look at how the brain develops, what certain parts of the brain do what, and how you can harness this knowledge to become an even more powerful person. I know some of these concepts are new, and some of the tools that you're learning are unfamiliar, and maybe even feel a little weird, but like we've discussed before, mindfulness practices and distress tolerance tools we're teaching have proven to be successful by some of the most powerful people on the planet. People like Andrew Chert, CEO of Panda Express, Mark Benoit, CEO of Salesforce, as well as the CEOs of LinkedIn, Huffington Post, and many more. Not to mention Jerry Seinfeld and Oprah Winfrey, all set time aside every day to meditate and be mindful. They find it increases productivity, creativity, and helps them practice empathy and compassion. Talk about powerful people and powerful practices. So let's jump right in. Today, we're going to take a mindfulness moment to explore your emotions and sensations. By now in your day, you've probably encountered many things that have triggered a variety of emotions and had some sensations that have followed. A quick example may be waking up late. Oh, don't you hate that feeling? You look up at the clock and you realize you've overslept. Immediately, there's a knot in your stomach and you're short of breath. And you jump out of bed, hardly able to focus on what you need to do because you're worried that you're going to miss the bus. Man, that can affect your entire day. Whatever the situation may be, research shows that taking a mindfulness moment to define your emotions and putting a number to them can lessen their negative effects by as much as 70%. You don't have to only identify the negative. Today, we're just taking a mindfulness moment to identify the emotions you've felt in your day so far and how you're feeling right now. If you're tempted to look around and see who's not participating, don't worry about it. Just know that as you really take this seriously and participate, you're joining the world's most powerful people and building some incredible emotional strength. Take a second look at the emotion wheel in your workbook. It'll give you some ideas of the names of emotions as we start our mindfulness moment. So let's go. I need everybody to sit comfortably. Eyes open, facing forward. Feet on the floor, arms relaxed on the legs, looking forward, not paying attention to any specific thing, but let yourself soft focus on whatever you want. Now, turn your attention to your breathing and take a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Now, with this one, when you're ready, let your eyes close as you take another deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And turning your attention to the body and the weight of your body pressing down against the chair, the weight of your arms on your legs and your feet against the floor, letting your breath become regular and normal in whatever pattern is easy. Just acknowledging the sounds around you, but turning your attention to the body. Doing a quick scan of the feelings in your body as you move from head down to the toes. And now, turning your attention, gently coming back to the breath again. Letting the mind be completely free. Letting it think whatever it wants to think. Now, gently turning the mind back to the breathing. In these moments, Consider now the emotions you've felt today so far. Remember what triggered those emotions. Try to put a name to them and a number, 0 to 100, of how intensely you have felt that emotion. And gently now, bringing your attention back to your breathing. And when you're ready, opening your eyes, giving yourself just a moment to consider how you feel right now. Just taking a moment to consider what emotions came to mind. Now take a minute and write down a number next to the emotions that you felt today and are currently feeling. This can be very insightful. It can help you know what things are helping you achieve your goals and what things are hurting you. It can also clue you into what course of action to take. For example, if you wrote a 90 next to the word worried, you might realize that it would help to talk to a friend or an adult about what's worrying you. Talk to them face to face if possible. That's how real human connection and healing happens. Don't ever expect to get empathy or compassion from a text or post on social media. Our brains are simply wired for human-to-human connection. Next, take a look at the model of your brain on your SEL worksheet and fill in the appropriate labels as we talk about the different parts of the brain. As you understand the way your brain works, it's easier to have more control over what it does. There's a lot of complex information out there about the human brain, but for the scope of this course, let's keep it simple. The brain is broken up into 3 major parts: the hindbrain, the midbrain, and the forebrain. Let's start with the hindbrain. It's the very first part of our brain to develop. It happens during embryonic development, or while you're still in your mom's tummy. It's responsible for the automatic life-supporting functions, like our heart beating or breathing. It's the stuff that you don't even have to think about doing. It just happens naturally. Its job is basically to just keep us alive. The next part of our brain to develop is the midbrain. It's responsible for our emotions. You see this development clearly in babies. Newborns are mostly functioning out of a few basic needs: eat, sleep, and a diaper change. Then, somewhere around 4 months old, they start social smiles. And before long, they are a mess of extreme emotions, giggling with joy one minute and screaming with anger and sadness the next. We then spend the rest of our lives trying to make sense of all the emotions that come from our midbrain. The last part of our brain to develop is the forebrain. It usually starts around age 11 and doesn't even finish developing until you're around age 25. Just like you weren't born with all the muscles you'll have as an adult, your brain needs time to develop. And with the right exercise routine, you can develop some of the most amazing mental and emotional abilities. You see, the forebrain is responsible for putting logical thinking before emotional impulse. That's why you have some teenage guys that just run and jump off of things without even looking first. That sounds crazy, but the thrill of emotional impulse, rush of adrenaline, and not knowing what to expect, it can all be explained by an underdeveloped forebrain. As we age, through deliberate mental exercise, we learn to make choices to help us instead of letting uncomfortable emotions rule over us. This is the part of our brain where we want to spend most of our time. Now, let's go back to the midbrain for a moment. Another important function of the midbrain, and perhaps the most important for the purposes of this class, is the fight, flight, and freeze response. This is where that originates. There is a little almond-shaped part of the midbrain called the amygdala. The amygdala is responsible for this response, and kind of acts like a sonar system and a smoke alarm. It's constantly scanning the world around us, looking for the things that could threaten our life. To better illustrate, imagine you're on an African safari and you decide to get out of the Land Rover to stretch a little bit. You take a look around. After a minute, you hear everything go still. And you notice something rustling in the tall grass directly in front of you. You hold still for a second, and then you see it. A large, round head of a lion pushes its way out of the grass, crouched and staring right at you. What happens to you? Without even thinking, you're going to take the fastest route back to the Land Rover, back to safety. Well, maybe except for some of you tough guys out there that are thinking, heck no, I can take that lion. Right. That is your flight response. Your amygdala initiates all the processes necessary in your body to save your life. Now, what's really important to understand is that your amygdala doesn't know the difference between the life threat of a lion or being asked to stand up and sing in front of a crowd, or the perceived threat of rejection for asking somebody out on a date, or not getting any likes on an Instagram post. The amygdala fires the same fight, flight, or freeze response and hijacks the brain until we perceive that threat is gone. It literally takes over and shuts off power to the forebrain. Then, without even thinking, the hindbrain goes into survival mode and we either fight, which looks like arguing or attacking, flight, which might be running away or perhaps retreating to our room, locking everyone out and isolating, or we freeze and literally can't move, speak, or decide what to do. Everyone experiences this. The only difference is that some people have exercised their forebrain to take back control. It's something anyone can learn to do, and you're never too old to learn it. And the great news is that this is the core of what we teach at Life Launch University. In fact, once you've learned how to regulate your emotions and keep the forebrain online, you can eventually get good enough to stay present during just about any crisis you can imagine. We're going to take the next few weeks to learn about the 8-step process to take back control of your emotions and your brain. These are the skills you will use the rest of your life and will help you exercise the mental and emotional strength to achieve any goal you want in life. So nice work today. Don't forget to turn in your SEL worksheet for the day and review your emotion wheel. Go home and teach what you've learned to your parents or a trusted adult. 100 points for every adult that texts us the 3 parts of the brain that you learned about today. You'll be that much closer to taking home the grand prize of the exclusive premiere screening of The Avengers. Next time, we're going to introduce to you the first A in how to achieve straight A's in the school of life. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you just might make someone's day. We'll see you tomorrow.